Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue with our liberty in place of security, or security in place of liberty, or whatever I decide to title it. You should know that I'm petting my one cat, who is Rocky Bodine. You may or may not see him on camera. At the end of the video that I just had done, he was actually coming to me, and he kind of put his claws into me. He's like, "Daddy, I want to see you." And I will not reject my son. Yeah, he's a cat to some people. He's my son. So hey, forget about if you don't like it. Now, as I was saying in my earlier video, for those of you who are watching this series, I haven't figured out if I'm going to title. I think I'm going to title it Security with No Liberty. Security without liberty. That's what we've exchanged, America. So let's continue. As I said, there are survivalists out there right now. Yeah, you might see a little bit of Rocky. Sorry, but you might see him. But anyway, there are survivalists out there, hunters out there, and people who say that they're off the grid and they can't be found. Well, let me put a little something to let you know something. If you have a watch, most likely there's a chip in it. And if you have a cell phone, there's a chip in it. A lot of your cars, there's a chip in it. So, can you still be totally off the grid in the United States of America? I'm sure you could. But you'd have to give up your phone, pretty much all lines of communication. You'd have to give up your watches and any kind of stuff to be in contact with the outside world. You pretty much have to give it up, everything. There's a good movie that I recommend. Now, at the time, a lot of these things weren't in place, but Will Smith is in it, and I believe Gene Hackman. And it's called Enemy of the State. So bottom line, America, you are being tracked in every manner that can be done. Now, I may be the person you think the messenger of doom, but in reality, I'm a messenger of hope. Let's get down to what is real. Right now, our nation, the politicians in D.C. and in every state, pretty much, Democrats did not stand up for you. Republicans are the most guilty of the party. The Constitutionalist Party, if there's any left in there, probably are the only ones that may be defending you. Maybe possibly the Libertarian Party. The Democrats are complicit. The Republicans are guilty of sin. The reason I say that is they put in place all these laws. The Patriot Act, the Military Commissions Acts of 2006 and 2008, the National Defense Authorization Act, the suspension of habeas corpus, and a few other laws. So you might say, well, I never heard of all that, and what's it really mean? It really means that we are no longer free. We are in a near total police state. Any call you make, the government can, for no real reason, they can spy on you. Any call, any email, any kind of internet, whatever. And you might think, well, that's simple. The American people unite together and demand that those laws and practices be stopped. Okay, sounds good. But because of the lax and the spying type of surveillance the government has done, now industries do it. I'm going to give you a perfect example. A week and a half ago, I was looking for some car insurance. I got online, I put in my information. I did not put Annette's information in. Not one thing. I'm looking to get a quote. Sure enough, a little bit later as I'm doing this, the company was Liberty Mutual. Yeah, the one with all those interesting commercials. So, here's what I get. I get a screen come up. The other driver in your house, Annette Mendel, they knew her first name, her middle initial, in fact they gave her actual full name, and her last name. They knew her social security number, I did not give it out. They knew her age, they knew this, and they knew that. That was a so-called private organization without me giving any information whatsoever. You might say, well, why didn't you tell them about the other driver in your house? Well, here's the la-di-dee-dee, la-di-dee-doo. She doesn't drive. She has a state-issued ID. And you're probably thinking, well, what the heck does this have to do with you? Everything. You see, number one, they knew about her because they're able to do all the surveillance on people through the government and through corporations and all the sneakiness. But there's something else you need to think about. They had her listed as a driver. Now, you might have picked up on my point, which is, not only did they find her, but they also had inaccurate information. She's not a driver. Never was. Never even taken one driving lesson officially. So what that means is our government and corporations around the United States, and I believe around the globe, are collecting information on you. And we're going to cut for a minute. We're going to cut for a minute